With Miguel being suspended and some other players having minor issues, how is Kaizer Chiefs going to line up in their game against Richards Bay? Well, as it happens, that's exactly what we're talking about in this video. Hello and welcome to Khosi Nation Fan TV. I am Pilo, I am your host, and this is where fans meet and talk about Kaizer Chiefs. Khosi Football Club, starting with the fact that, hey, our goalkeeper, well, you know, this guy, Fiakrintwari, he was seen training with the team, which tells me that he is ready to play in that game. Because yes, he did get injured when his national team was playing, but it wasn't a serious injury because now he's back fully training with the team. Do I think that Coach Nabi will start him? Yes, I do, because I think this is has been a good 2 weeks for the players to be free and go out and rejuvenate and come back with confidence. So I do think that Nabi will be giving him, at the very least, an opportunity to prove himself and say, look, coach, I know that I've not performed well in the previous games, but now I will come back and I will actually prove to everyone that I can be a goalkeeper. So Fiakrintwari will definitely be starting, which brings us to the right back, who was actually substituted in that game in the legends what thing that we're playing. So I still think that Ufrosla is still solid, our first option in that right back position. If somehow something happened to him that was serious because he's had his injury problems, I do think that then maybe Usolomons could come in that position. But as it stands, I think Frosla plays in that position, which brings us to hey, Bradley Cross. I'm just trying to force a song here, but there was no song, so forgive me for trying and failing. Anyways, now, who do I think will be playing as a centre-back pairing? The first person, the name that comes to mind is obviously Rashwin Totli, a player that I've been very clear about. If this guy does not leave Chiefs at the end of the season, I'll be surprised. And I know some people will take that in a negative way, but he's just very good. Like, he goes to Europe and he plays. He performs. And if you're doubting that Chiefs can produce defenders or who can go to Europe and crash, look at Siyabonga Ngezana. And I'm telling you now, totally without comparing and in a negative way, is a better and more complete defender than Ngezana, and he's shining there. And I think that the opportunity that he has now playing for Kaizer Chiefs also elevates his status and exposes him to other people or other teams that might be looking for centre back. So I'm looking at him and thinking, if he will finish the season, but will he come back next year? I don't know. You can also let me know about how good you think Totli is. Can he go abroad and actually make it? Well, we'll hear from you. So Miguel is injured, which means this guy, Kevin Msimango, will be there playing alongside Totli. And one thing that I've obviously seen with Msimango is the fact that he clearly sort of isn't feeling entitled to being a starter at Kaizer Chiefs. He's fighting, he's grinding, he's trying to win his place back. We know that it's going to be very difficult to do that, especially if you are competing against a player like Miguel, who's a leader, who's also a very good defender. But once again, we know when we see that Miguel with his disciplinary problems, because he's getting a lot of yellow cards and maybe might get a red card. So Simango is there. He could always just come in for him. And also there are injuries. And also there will be a lot of games next season, because I'm still one of those people who think we can finish in the top 3 and end up qualifying for African football. So with that being said, I think that Simango still has a very good chance of becoming one of the key players at Kaizer Chiefs. Which brings us to midfield. And this is a very interesting part, because we saw in the home of the legends thing that the team did not once play this guy, but they played him twice. And I think that there's an experiment that is going on at Kaizer Chiefs with the two players that are going to make the starting 11. One making it for the second time, but this one, Usbong Senemteto, I think he will just make his first be a starter for the first time for Chiefs this season. Why am I saying that? Because, well, if he plays as a 6, he plays on his own. He does not need to have someone else play alongside him. And if we're going to experiment with any game, I mean, we can do that against smaller teams, right? So if we want to experiment with playing a single pivot as a 6, then we would do that instead of playing 2. And that will also now mean we have more players up front for Chiefs. And one of those players would be, yes, this guy, Khosi Mshini Ngobo, who scored a goal in that previous game, and it was such a beautiful goal. And I just want to talk about Mshini because there's one thing that I said. Yeah, can we like the video? Yeah, if you're enjoying it, just like the video and subscribe to the channel, of course, right? Okay, Danko. Now, Khosi Ngobo, what was I saying about him? I'm saying that Chiefs lost Edson Castillo, right? And what we lost with him was a person who goes into the box and affords us or gives us like that extra goal threat. But if you have a player like Khosi Ngobo, that goal that he scored, it was a perfect example of what he can offer to Chiefs, and that is making runs also, but not into the box, but being just outside the box, or even making a run into the box and scoring goals. But on top of that, you also have his creativity, because as much as Umtu is creative, it doesn't have to have 2 creative players now, does it? Especially if you know that they are much secured when it comes to who's covering them, right? And Mteto will be doing that very well. So I do think that Ngobo is there, and I think that the second player is obviously going to be Shabalala. So we will see. I think Chiefs can do this. I think Kaizer, from the moment he came on, we've seen that Cedric Kaizer wants this combination to work, because like I made a big deal about that picture of Kaizer talking to Ngobo and Mteto, and it turns out he might have been telling them that, hey, you're gonna play together and you are going to be covering Mshini to make sure that he has the freedom to go forward. And also having Shabalala, who can work hard, while you have Mshini, who is not really regarded as the hardest working defensively, but then you can compensate for him by having a player like Usbongiseni Mteto. So yeah, that's who I am. Which then brings us to another change that we might see, and that change would be in the right wing position. And I think that it would be Modi, because once again, just like we did with the same way that we did with Ox Mteto, we also saw the same thing. Modi played and started both of those games. And one of the things that I've noted with the Chiefs is that everyone has noted is the fact that, yes, we have young players who are very good, but putting too much pressure on them and having too high of expectations on them might just be troublesome. And I don't think that benching Uduba is necessarily saying you are bad, but it also means he can come on for whoever, because he can come on for the other winger, which I think will be Gaston Sireno on the left. He can come on for Umodi, which is the other winger who's going to be on the right. So either way, if you are placing Uduba on the bench, you're also just telling him that continue working hard, and you will just come in and maybe take one of these guys' position. So I will not fight that, because we're adding experience as well in the team, and a lot of people have been talking about adding experience. Speaking of players who will be starting again, I think this guy will start as a number 9. I think Udupriz will start, and I know I've said it many times that I see Udupriz as a striker, as a winger more than a striker, but we clearly see that Nabi does not think like Kumpilo, because obviously Nabi spends more time with Dupri. He's with him every week, and he sees that, hey, I can actually use this guy as a striker. So if he thinks he can use him as a striker, then by all means, because even in the Home of the Legends Cup, he played both matches as a striker. And I know someone might be tempted to say, but Mpilo, that was just a friendly. No, there's no such thing as a friendly at Kaizer Chiefs. Nabi said it himself. Uduba told us that Nabi says there are no such things as friendlies. So we know very well that what they were doing in that one day cup thingy was exactly what they are planning to do when they come back. And I think that other things that Nabi might have not focused on that much when he was just on his own after his assistant coach left, he did tell us that, hey, actually, it's becoming problematic to deal with all the players, not in a negative way, but because there's too much to do and he ends up maybe not seeing other things that he should be seeing. So now having an assistant who can say, hey, maybe let's try to pre might not be a bad idea. But what do you guys think? Who would you like to see start in this game? Do let me know down on the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, remember, Khosi aliphela umoya.